Hello there, and welcome to episode 2, day 2 of the Founder Singleton. Yes, I renamed my vlog. The other name sounded too morose, and my wife happily suggested Singleton, which is a great word for computer science folks out there. So, anyways, today's episode to give a little progress update of where I am and try Claude Code for the first time. So progress update. Domain name has been secured. I, covering what we did yesterday. Basically, I ended up brute forcing, generating a list of 70,000 domain names that were available in .dev. First, tried the LLMs to try to figure out which ones worked best for what I was looking for. That was a complete flop the first time I did it until I narrowed it down to my favorite 250 or so domain names by hand. And then I was able to use LLMs to come up with a final set of suggestions for me, which was pretty cool. It was interesting that the suggestions that the domain name that ended up getting picked was the both the last choice, like the last recommendation on ChatGPT and Gemini, did not come up at all in Claude. But basically, what I ended up doing was using it to narrow things down here. And so I don't want to let AIs be the final arbiter of taste here. So I ended up sending a nice little note to a bunch of my friends and people who are prospective customers, and my family as well. My family gravitated toward Choose Happy. I loved the happy theme because it was a good reminder for myself to keep, that I'm doing this for my own happiness. That's why I did a startup in the first place. But it was interesting for the people who are actually like considering tools. They saw happy as maybe a slightly negative thing, like they wouldn't trust it. Almost everybody gravitated toward CodeGroove.dev. So I went ahead and registered that. I also registered ChooseHappy.dev because who knows, maybe I'll use that for my blog or something. But anyways, 4 out of 5 software engineer curmudgeons voted for CodeGroove. So anyways, so what did I do next? I registered it. I'm using name.com as my register of choice. There's definitely plenty of options out there. I did take a moment to set up my email. It was absolutely no problem to get email set up. I use this wonderful service called Forward Email. It's $3 a month. I'm not a shill for them, just a happy customer. And that way I could have people have a professional looking sort of address. For now, I chose root@CodeGroove.dev as my contact address. And that is just forwarding to my Gmail at this point. I've made a conscious decision to not set up a Google Workspace. I am trying to do this in the simplest possible ways, and managing any sort of SaaS platform adds complexity to an organization. At some point, I'll probably register a Google Workspace, but at this time, I'm just going to use free stuff and simple things. So email's all set up. One other thing that happened yesterday was I got my COBRA notice, which I was very much looking forward to. And COBRA lets you keep the insurance from your previous company. It's this word, American quirk. you can keep the insurance for, in my case, up to 18 months. There are certain events that may extend it, but tried to sign up for this. It is $2,800 a month to insure my family using my previous COBRA plan, or previous insurance plan, which is a little above what I was thinking. I was originally considering that it was going to be $2,400 or $2,600. Probably the next best plan that I can get here in North Carolina is, for a worse plan, I could get down to maybe $1,800 a month, as far as I've been aware from other local founders I've talked to. So it's interesting to consider that, when I think about how am I going to pay for my insurance, if I am doing direct business to consumer and charging, let's say I'm charging $3 a month, that means I have to attract 933 users in order to just pay my insurance bill, never mind the mortgage or anything else. But if I am trying to sell like an enterprise business plan, business subscription to companies, let's say, it's roughly $7,200 a year or something like that. I only have to get 5 businesses up and running on my platform in order to at least match the COBRA. Never, this is not including taxes, double that if you want to include all the other riffraff. So yeah, there's my naive financial take. So I definitely have a goal in mind where I want to have this startup at least pay for my insurance and my mortgage. Everything after that is gravy. So, where else? So yeah, I also set up a GitHub org, set up a GitHub org and set up a example repository to host my website. I've actually gone ahead and licensed the website as a Creative Commons 0 license. And yeah, the next step, I forgot. I even generated a cool logo. And, in the theme of trying to explore ways that AI can accelerate solo companies, solo founders, I used AI to generate the logo. I apologize to all my artist friends out there. I still may get you to do something, but I kind of want to show you the evolution here of how I arrived at a logo. So, the first thing I did was type in the company name, CodeGroove, and, it's okay. I love the code grove that was generated by that, but nothing amazing at this point. So this is using a service called Ilus.AI that I've had good luck with for generating what appears to be hand-drawn pictures. I've used this multiple times for presentations when I've been too lazy to draw my own work. So if I just give it a dumb prompt, I get dumb output. Nothing too exciting. I mean, that one on the right is actually kind of a neat little logo, but then I thought about one thing that my friend Jed had mentioned when I mentioned gave him the list of company names. He said the thing he liked about CodeGroove is that it kind of reminded him of being locked in as a developer. Your headphones are on. You're just driving through a pile of code. And I love that idea. And I think, the part of the reason why the LLM had suggested this is as part of my company vision statement. I talked about the need to preserve developer flow and not constantly interrupt them with whatever tools that we're using. So, stay out of the way. So I started generating some logos, happy hacker in the zone with headphones on. This last one, I don't know. So I wanted more specifically to present a keyboard. And so, showing a keyboard. Then I started, these were kind of boring. So I kept going and kept going. one of the things that my wife noticed was, hey, these are a bunch of white men. That's not, that's not being nonconformist. So yeah. So we tried some other ideas, and pretty decent logos, starting to get kind of a feel for things. And this last prompt, each time my prompt was getting longer and longer, and here, I guess I can copy the prompt, but I can't see it. Well, I can't actually see the full thing here. That's interesting. I can't copy the whole original prompt, but basically, yeah, it was the iteration we ended up with is facing where the picture is from behind. I wanted kind of a more of a androgynous non-binary look, and it kind of delivered. Maybe not specifically, but the logo I liked best was this one. And one of the things I realized after I was, fighting the different prompts was that this particular thing does let you select between two different characters, neither of which are exactly what I wanted anyways, but yeah, I felt pretty good about the logo. It's you can't really tell the identity behind the person, so I like that aspect. And it's not quite as groovy or funky as I wanted yet. When I think of groove, one of the things I think about is, the same person who mentioned, Jed, the same person who mentioned the headphones thing, introduced me to this wonderful album, Nigeria 70, and he probably doesn't even remember this album, but he was mentioning like the music he was listening to when we worked together at Google. Like, God, this was 15 years ago. Yeah, this was, I don't remember if this was the exact album he suggested, but at least this is the one I ended up with. I think this is the one he suggested, but definitely good groove for programming, I found. But anyways, so now we're going to try to make an example website using the logo. Even before I came across CodeGroove, I was thinking bright colors. Probably going to start with a bright yellow now. It probably goes more with the choose happy theme, but we're going to start with that. And so I'm going to use Claude Code for the first time and see how we can make that happen. So I don't even know how to use this thing yet, but there are some instructions here. So I'm going to copy and paste that command. And let's give it a whirl. Cool. All right, so we did that. And I already have a website directory. It actually has nothing in it at this point, which is fine. Okay, I need to move the media stuff here. Well, I'm just going to actually copy it. Cool. All right, so we've copied the media directory. I don't know, I'm just going to... Is there a Claude command? Cool, there's a Claude command. All right, so I do have a Claude account with a subscription. I did sign up yesterday. All right, says we can close this window. All right, Claude can make mistakes, fine, proceed. All right, so it suggests an init file. All right, this is surprisingly slow for a file that has two directories, and it's overloaded, so I'm just gonna say I don't care. Escape to interrupt. Cool. Create a website company named think 1970s Nigeria funk music as the aesthetic. No JavaScript or external sources, just single page that is the bright yellow background. We should give it a company slogan. Ooh, look at those tokens go up. Oh. This website is static to be hosted by GitHub pages. Eventually I'll make it use a particular framework. But by framework I mean basically static website generator. Maybe if in a second iteration maybe we go there, but company slogan. Oh, here we go. I haven't even seen this, but feel the rhythm of the code. That sounds really terrible, but let's actually see what this looks like in a web browser. I'm kind of scared here, but I actually did try another like hosted SaaS website generator, and the result was terrible. I feel like every SaaS generated website looks about the same. So they all have this like terrible black background, purple, blue hue thing. So I wanted to stand out and be a little bit different here. So this is interesting. It's it's not bad. I would make the text white and yeah, let's start with this. Okay, so I don't even have to tail that. Okay, so give the main text a white background. Give the borders the only colors should well, I'm going to leave the brown. I'm not digging the brown yet, but let's see. Give the main text a white background. All right, cool. I don't know how to feed it things quite yet. So let's see, is there, I have a file in another directory that I'd love to include, but it seems to be locked into this directory, which is probably fine. Oh, a new working directory I can add. Let's try that. Well, I'm actually just going to manually copy because I don't want to screw around too much. I'm going to copy my vision statement. All right, and we'll say incorporate the vision statement into this and see how this goes. Incorporate this vision statement into the design and text of this website. It's asking if I want to make the edit. I'm not even going to read it. All right, so let's see. All right, I want to make the yellow brighter and happier. Kind of like the pulsatingness of it, but okay, that's feeling a little better. Don't love the fonts at this point. Let's see what we can do to make the font suck a little less. Is the grooviest looking font? Let's say specifically Google Fonts. So we got this font here. This looks cool. This looks like it preserves the kind of the Nigerian funk aesthetic more than the 1960s American groovy era. So I like it. Let's start with that. I'm gonna see if we can download it. We got a zip file. I'm not even gonna bother to use an LLM for that. Okay, so we got a bunch of stuff here, text, static fonts. All right, so all right, cool. So we got some fonts. I'm gonna use the bold. For the company, use the case of the logo should show CodeGroove, and the font, the text should look more professional. The colors should be black, white, yellow. Think a bit more pop art. Bottom right and right border should be 2x thick. The regular So we haven't even thought about like, you know, how to make this text better from a go-to-market perspective. Maybe we can convince it here. Cool. I found some files. I'm not even going to say yes, or not even going to review it again. Cool. Let's check it out. How did we do? All right. I would say it failed. Well, maybe it's just not done. Cool. It's not done. Next thing we'll say is to make it look good from like a convincing go-to-market perspective, and then we're just gonna leave it as that. Tomorrow, I'm gonna take a day off. One of my goals for this startup is to do a 4-day work week, and see how that all rolls. Interesting. Box shadow black. Okay, that's cool. It's I need to tell it to do yes to everything instead of constantly going through this. All right, cool. So let's see how that worked. Okay, that white shadow. Remove white shadow from company logo. Optimize text for selling a future product that doesn't exist yet. For, I don't know, for folks then deliver a company manifesto. With any luck, this will be our last change, and then we will, oh, yes, to everything. Cool, Shift Tab. This will be our last change before we publish it to GitHub Pages, and we'll actually make this kind of a real thing. So, yeah. In our next video, we'll end up doing, starting with our proof of concept. We'll actually start by doing a, probably start by trying to get some system, probably not Claude Code this time, we'll try a different one, maybe Gemini Code, to design a Chrome extension for us as part of our future plans. So let's see how it did here. All right. Cool. All right. It got better. That's not a terrible start. Not a great start, but not a terrible start. So good enough for an initial stab at it. Thanks everybody for joining. Till next week.